Hello everyone, Chelsea here. I'm excited for this video because I'm teaching you how to finally make one of my Fleece hats. Now this tutorial is just going to be the base hat. This one right here is very basic. It's literally just the base. I have no decora or characters on this hat. It's just what I use to start making each hat. I start off by creating this based off of the color scheme of the hat, and then I add to it and create characters from there. So this is going to be a tutorial that I'll link back to a lot from each new hat that I show you how to make, because this one will teach you the very basics that you need to know on how to make this base. So before I take too long to jabber, let's get into the tutorial.
First, you're going to need a pin cushion with some needles and pins. Second, you're going to need a pair of good fabric cutting scissors. Third, you're going to need whatever color fabric you're using. I recommend using anti-pill fleece because it won't fray at the edges when you're cutting it. And I chose red just to show you, and I would recommend getting at least a yard just to make sure that you have plenty in case you mess up. You're also going to need some thread to match the same color as the fabric that you chose. You're also going to need a nice black Sharpie just so that you can see your marks on the fleece. And also you're going to need this pattern. I will have it linked in the description below so you can print it off yourself or you'll know how to draw it. So the first thing that we're going to do is take our chosen colored fabric and we're going to lay it out flat so that there aren't any creases or crinkles. If you want to iron it just to be extra sure, you can totally do that, it's fine. And we're going to lay the pattern on top of the fabric, and we're going to take our Sharpie and we're going to begin outlining this shape onto our fabric. You're going to want to do this 4 times in total, so you'll have 4 big rounded triangles. Now once these 4 triangles are drawn out, we're going to take our scissors and cut each of them out. Now you should have 4 complete triangles cut out separately. Now we're going to take more of our fabric and we're going to make the base rim of the hat. So what I like to do is take our pattern and then measure it out 1, 2.5 times. Then we're going to cut out that length. Now we're going to lay this one on top of the fabric again and repeat the process, just using this one as a template. Now that you have your 2 pieces, you're going to fold them over. And taking the pins, we're going to pin the folded pieces together like this. Now on the open end of these folded pieces that we've pinned, I'm going to trim off the edge just so it's nice and clean, because this is the part that we're going to attach to our base of our hat. Once completed, they should look like this. The next step is to take 2 of our hat pieces that we have pre-cut, lay them on top of each other, and then pin the side together using our pins. Now we're going to sew along the pinned edges of each of these pieces. You can totally use a sewing machine for this step, but I personally prefer to hand sew most of the things that I make. So I'm going to just show you how I thread my needles. I take a piece of the thread and I push it through the hole of the needle, pull the other end back through, and then tie a knot in the end with the 2 pieces. Now it's time to begin sewing these pieces together. I'm going to kind of speed through this part, so if you have any trouble, just feel free to pause the video at any point. Once I hit the end of that piece, I'm going to cut off my thread and tie it off. We don't want to sew both sides down, just the side that was pinned. Now we're going to take the other piece and we're going to sew the side that's pinned as well. And now we're going to tie that off as well, leaving the other side open just like the first one. Now you should have these two pieces that are sewn on one side. We're going to connect them like this, laying them on top of each other, and then we're going to pin these edges together as I'm showing here. You want to be extra sure that it is even on both sides. You don't want it overlapping on one or the other. This has a lot to do with how the hat is balanced and it looks symmetrical, so just be real careful when pinning. You don't want it to be too lopsided. Now using our needle and thread, we're going to sew along this pinned line. Once you reach the end, we're going to cut the thread and tie it off. Now it should look just like this, with the open bottom and the four pieces sewn together like so. Now it's time to attach the rim piece to the base of our hat. I'm going to do this by folding up the bottom just a little bit and re-pinning these pieces to the very bottom of the hat base. Now there will be a little bit of extra trim here. You can just compensate that by adding less rim whenever cutting the pattern, but I like to have a little bit extra just so I am prepared in case I do need it. And now we're going to repeat this same process by attaching the other side of the rim to the other side of the hat base. Now this is what we're left with. You're going to want to sew around that pinned edge all around the hat. Now once you get to this point, you're going to have these two end pieces that aren't sewn together. We're going to just connect them from the inside so that the seam is hidden, and we're going to sew those two together. Once done sewing, you're going to cut the thread and tie it off at the end. Now you're going to do the exact same thing to the other side of the hat rim. Once again, when finished, cut your thread and tie off the end. Now guess what? You are finished! Oh my gosh, yes! I flip it right side out and here's what it looks like.
Okay, so we finally finished our hat and this is what it looks like on. See, it's so cute and fits me perfectly. It's just loose enough to not give me like a headache or be too hot or anything. And I just really love this basic hat idea. It's a very basic idea. You can easily change anything you want about it, but this is the way that I found to be the most simplistic for me to make any hat that I design out of. I do sometimes change the rim based on the design, like if it's a character that has like a jagged something that I want to change that, I'll do that, and that's a whole different ball game. And if I ever do a hat tutorial like that, you'll see how to do that. But this video is pretty much just the basis for all of my other hat tutorials I'm going to make. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and this is a very good gift for people. I have made several custom hats for family and friends, and it's just one of my favorite things to make. If you haven't noticed, check out my Etsy store and my store Envy if you're interested in buying one of my designs that I have made. I will have some new ones coming soon, and I'm always making new designs, taking requests, drawing up original and fan art ideas. Fan art is listed in the store Envy, so if you're wanting something that is a character from a show like Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z or anything like that, check that store. If you're wanting something more original and unique, check out my Etsy. Plus, I also put stickers and enamel pins on my Etsy. So those are the places that you can get something like this custom made. If you want to order something custom, like get me to design one for you, just feel free to message me on my Etsy and I will make you a custom listing, and I can do that no problem. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it has been informative to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Sometimes I don't know technical terms for how to do things. I kind of just learned how to sew on my own. So I will do my best to figure out what you need to know based on your questions. So if you don't know anything or you need something cleared up, feel free to ask me in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you in a timely fashion. But I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.